Hi, and welcome to your carrier update brought to you by PowerFleet. I'm Michael Vincent. He's Zach Strickland. What's going on, my friend?
I am Zach Strickland.
You are?
And we have,
at least for now,
all of our rejection indexes broken out, and the national rejection indexes broken out by reefer, van here in blue, and flatbed here in orange, just to give a perspective of where individual markets for the individual modes are right now. Van rejection rates really still kind of trending down, like slightly down. And we had this little bump in August, and they came down a little bit, which is a little bit, we thought that was going to continue to just bounce back up, but they're still kind of.
Well, you would think right before the holiday would start doing it. Well, we still got a week or two.
Our theory, I think, is that this has nothing to do with the holiday.
Yeah.
It's just maybe people, or maybe it does have a little bit of that. Some of the shippers got out there, got things ready to go because they know Labor Day's coming.
Could be.
And it kind of throttled capacity there for a minute. So it's probably still going to increase here in the coming days.
I would say so, yes. It certainly is.
We're not that far away from Labor Day, next week, I suppose. So we've got our reefer rejection rates, however, bouncing up throughout August. And a lot of this has to do with the Pacific Northwest. Produce season up there happens in August. Typically, a lot of that perishable good freight really starts churning in August up there. And, we're talking about cherries and blueberries and onions and things like that that don't have a long enough shelf life. Like apples, they actually last for a very long time without spoilage. So that's what's occurring right now. Reefer markets getting a little bit tighter, especially in the Northwest. Northeast really seeing a lot of depression in the reefer markets, as they typically would, in relation to the rest of the country.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So let's look at the map and look at the other modes. The main mode of transportation that we monitor, of course, the dry van, because that's most of general commodity freight. And that's what these two are measuring mostly. That over there, the capacity trend score for van freight. So the absolute values of tightness measured over there. Dark blues indicate these are very tight markets in relation to the rest of the country. So if you're a carrier, you want to get into these dark blue markets because there's going to be a lot of trouble sourcing freight in there.
That's where you're going to get the freight and the best buck.
Exactly. So then you come over here to get your weighted rejection index, which is going to show you the direction of these markets week over week. And the reds indicate loosening, which we see a lot of in the southern tier of the country and again over here on the eastern half of the country. So, even though they may be tight, they're still tight. We're seeing a little bit of change in direction here, and a significant change at that when you're talking about some of these individual markets.
Yeah, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, not small markets.
No, not at all.
Having a fairly significant effect on
and we got Atlanta right here, the hub of the Southeast, continuing to ease, and then Houston, you see over there, it's a white color, indicating it's not exceptionally tight in relation to the rest of the country, and it's easing significantly. However, Dallas is in the dark blue, very tight market, and it's easing as well.
It's interesting, Zach, because when you look at this over here, the markets in the weighted tender rejection, which is showing the direction of where those are going, and we talk about that ping pong effect.
Right.
You never see this red and Atlanta red. Right. Because it was the opposite just a week ago.
Yep. And we talked about Ontario yesterday with Andrew Cox, and that's showing a little bit of a tightening.
A little bit of a tightening.
It's not a dramatic one, but it is a little bit one, and it's definitely an area to watch. Of course, all the carriers have priced themselves back into this market.
Sure, but they got there, and now they're coming to the east.
And now they come east. But they got to move all this freight over here. So
that's exactly what's happening. And they're all going to head right back over there.
If we look at all the rejection rates by lane, Los Angeles, Ontario, almost every single time is the least rejected lane in the United States by market.
Of course.
In terms of large volume lanes.
And it makes perfect sense.
I teased this a little earlier. Let's look at the chart of a few of these markets,
Let's do it.
To see exactly what's happening. And I've got tender rejection rates over here, tender volumes over there. Pay attention to the tender rejection rates first as we look at the Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, and Savannah markets. You can see almost all of them showing a week over week downward trend. Atlanta there in the blue. We've got Savannah there in purplish pink, and it's that is a significant drop.
I was going to say Savannah is like really wild roller coaster ride there.
Yeah, and it looked like things were going to get really tight there for a minute. No, not anymore. 27 to 22%, and then of course Houston down here. That's why it's white. 13.4% tender rejection rate.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So it's easing and it's looser.
easing.
You see all these are up here. They were all in blues and they're above 20% rejection rates.
Sure. Yeah.
So something to take away from this though, on the volume side, Dallas volumes actually have grown since early June or late May.
So we're looking at the exact same time frame here. Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. Good.
And that is something to keep in mind when you're looking at 22%. Market is easing a little bit week over week, but volumes
10% up.
probably going to keep it a little bit tighter.
10% up, and you got Atlanta pretty much straight.
on it.
Excellent stuff. Great in-depth dive into that. Thank you so much, Zach.